Unit 83, the long and short of it. Every day we lace our talk with measurement words. We ask how much, how many, and how far. At the store we buy meat by the pound, clothing by the size, and cloth by the yard. All athletic events are played on measured fields or surfaces. Rules are also filled with words of measurement. For example, in football, we know that the first down means a gain of at least 10 yards. Words of distance, weight, and size help us understand and visualize what is seen or said. In ancient times, people used parts of the body as units of measurement. The Romans used antia to name the distance equal to the width of a thumb. The English picked up this word and renamed it an inch. They did not, however, accept the thumb as a unit of measure. They decided instead that an inch should be 3 barley corns, round and dry, placed end to end, lengthwise. After this, inch was accepted and used. The English then joined 12 inches and called it a foot. As it happened, 12 inches was roughly the length of a man's foot, so the foot unit was widely used. To measure a room, all you had to do was put one foot in front of the other and count. The inch and the foot worked so well that the English introduced a larger unit. They put together 3 lengths of a man's foot and called it a yard. Again, man had another useful unit, in this case, one he could use to pace off a large field quickly. Then the English made a unit for the women, one especially for measuring cloth. They called this unit a yard too. The distance was from a man's nose to the tip of his middle finger. Of course, there's a flaw in all this. Not all men are the same size, but no one seems to care. Unit 84, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. What group was named the Northwest Mounted Rifles? Back in 1873, this was the first name given to the Canadian Mounted Police. Why did the original name change? Because the United States objected. They thought the name sounded too much like a military force, and that was a problem. A treaty between the United States and Canada stated that no armed forces would patrol the 4,000-mile border, so the name became Canadian Mounted Police. The word Royal was added in 1920. King Edward VII of England allowed them to use the prefix. What is the mission of the Mounties? The words on their badge tell it all. The words are maintain the right. The Mounties cover miles and miles of territory to fulfill their mission. They are not like the local police in towns and cities. Their territory is the mountains, forests, and tundra of the rest of Canada. The Mounties gained world fame during the Klondike Gold Rush. Gold was discovered in August 1896. More than 25,000 people joined the rush. People from all over the world sought their fortune in the frozen north. The Mounties kept law and order in the Canadian gold fields. Many people believe the gold rush took place in Alaska. This is not so. The gold rush was in the Yukon Territory. This belongs to Canada. In ceremonies, you can still see the Mounties. You will see the famous scarlet tunics that they wear. You will also see their wide-brimmed hats. Their breeches are always tucked in high boots with spurs. Just to the hilt, the Mounties are a sight to see. Unit 85, Protecting the Orange Crop. Frost on the window panes is a child's dream. Frost in the orange groves is a grower's nightmare. Here is the reason. Frost can ruin the oranges and even kill the trees. How does this happen? When the temperature is below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, juices in the leaves and oranges freeze. When it freezes, the juice expands. This swelling bursts the thin cells of the leaves and fruit. Then the oranges will spoil and the trees dry up. When growers hear a forecast of frost, they act fast. Smudge pots ready for lighting are placed in the groves. Oil burners are also put out. Both are costly. For example, to protect an orange grove, 20 to 100 heaters are needed per acre. Smudge pots and heaters are two ways of fighting frost, but now there's a new way. Odd as it sounds, growers use ice to fight freezing. Some spray their crops with water on the freezing night. The water freezes quickly, and then a strange thing happens. As long as ice stays wet, it can't get colder than 32 degrees. Trees and oranges can stand this temperature. If the ice ever became entirely frozen and dry, it might drop many degrees and ruin the crops. The trick is to continually spray water on the ice. The spraying keeps the temperature from going below 32 degrees even if the air is much colder. Jack Frost may be frustrated, but the oranges and trees are saved. This strange kind of ice blanket works only on plants strong enough to stand the weight of frozen spray. The system is also used to protect banana plants on some Central American plantations. Unit 86. Nighttime sleep. Here's a statistic that will surprise you. More young people are killed each year by sleepy drivers than by drunk drivers. This proves one thing. Getting enough sleep can be a big problem. How are we dealing with the problem? Sleep clinics are popping up all over the United States. They are always working to find out more about sleep. Driving when tired can be very dangerous. During the daytime, over half of drivers report feeling sleepy at some point. At night, over 80% of drivers sometimes get drowsy. And here's the most frightening of all. Almost 1/4 of all drivers have fallen asleep at the wheel. What is going on here? One thing is that people are not getting enough sleep. 1 person out of 3 gets by on less than 6 hours a night. Many people have trouble falling asleep. Others fall asleep easily, but then wake up time after time. Few people get enough of the deep sleep they need to feel really rested. Here are some facts to remember. Believe it or not, people need 7 to 9 hours of nighttime sleep to remain healthy. During that sleep, a person's immune system is built up. This helps fight off diseases and infections. And taking a nap in the daytime does not really help. It will make a person feel refreshed, but it cannot make up for the lack of nighttime sleep. What if you are a person with real sleeping problems? What if you have tried all the home remedies like hot milk? You might consider going to a sleep clinic. Many such clinics look for volunteers. They will study your sleep problems and you will not have to pay anything. Unit 87. The Titanic. The word unsinkable sunk the Titanic. How? Because everyone believed it. The ship left Southampton, England on April 10, 1912. She sailed for 5 days on calm seas, steaming at about 26 miles per hour, pretty fast for a ship of over 46,000 tons. On April 14th, wireless reports from other ships warned of icebergs ahead. Actually, 6 reports came in that day, but the unsinkable ship steamed on, no slowing down. There was no moon that night. At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet saw the iceberg and phoned the bridge. A mountain of ice loomed against the dark sky. The berg was about 100 feet high. This means it extended about 900 feet below the surface. The ship veered at the last second. From above, it looked like a close shave, but at the bottom, a scraping sound was heard. It took 25 minutes to assess the damage. Water was pouring in. At 12:05, "Get the lifeboats ready," was ordered. By 2:20 a.m., the ship had sunk below the surface, so there were only about 2-3 hours to load the lifeboats. The ship carried 2,207 people. Fully loaded, the lifeboats could take only 1,178. Already there was guaranteed doom for many. Most boats pulled away partially loaded. Boat number 1, made for 40, carried only 12. Ultimately, only 705 people survived. Just 10 miles away was the Californian, stopped since 10:30 p.m. Each ship could see the other's lights, but they could not communicate. The Californian shut down its wireless at 11:30. The Titanic crashed 10 minutes later. Its cry for help was unheard. The Carpathia, many miles away, heard. Arriving after 4 hours, it picked up the survivors.